Hello, and welcome to the Gamer's Closet. I'm your host, Douglas Weed, and today we're going to be talking about Garfield. Garfield is a game manufactured by Parker Brothers Incorporated in 1981. It is a roll, spin, and movement game that seats 2 to 4 players. Playtime on it is about 20 to 30 minutes, and it's set for ages 6 to 12 years. So let's dig into it a little further, shall we? In 1981, Parker Brothers put out a board game on Garfield the cat from the American comic strip. All of the art in the game was done by Jim Davis, the creator of Garfield. The object of the game is to match wits with Garfield in a very fast-paced race among players to be the first to earn 3 rings by running circles around him. But Garfield doesn't sit idly by in the middle of the board and just let anyone by, unless of course you bribe him with lasagna, blindfold his eyes, or catch him napping. The game comes with a board, 4 playing pieces, 10 plastic rings, 15 Garfield cards, and 17 player cards. Shuffle the Garfield cards and place them face down onto the thought balloon in the upper right-hand corner of the board to form a draw pile. Then turn over the top card. Shuffle the player cards and deal 3 to each player. Place the remaining cards to the side of the board to form a player card draw pile. Make sure no one sees what your card says. Place all the rings into the center of the board and then choose a playing piece and place it on the start. Each player rolls the dice. Whoever rolls the highest number goes first. Play then proceeds in turn to the first player's left. To start your turn, read the top Garfield card. This is Garfield's way of telling you what to do. So follow the card's instructions, unless of course the card prevents you from doing so. Roll both dice and move in the direction of the arrows. The space you land on will have a direction on it which you must follow. Sometimes, however, you may not like what Garfield is telling you. For instance, he may try to slow you down or make you lose your turn. In these cases, you may, if you wish, play a player card, which I will be going over in a moment. By playing a player card at the beginning of your turn, you may ignore Garfield and follow the player card instructions instead. There are 4 kinds of player cards, and each card is played in a different way. You may play only 1 player card per turn at the beginning of your turn, with the exception of the lasagna card. You may play the lasagna card whenever you can during your turn. After you've played a player card, discard it face down beside the player card draw pile. Reshuffle those in the discard pile when you need to form a new draw pile. To use the blindfold Garfield card, place it over Garfield's eyes, then continue to roll the dice and move ahead as long as you roll an even number. Follow the directions on the space where you finally land. To use the nap attack card, place it on top of the Garfield card, then roll the dice and follow the directions on the space where you finally land. To use the put one over on Garfield card, you must play a little game first. Hold the card above your head and flip it and let it drop onto the playing surface. If it lands face up, you've put one over on Garfield and may follow that particular playing card's instructions. Or if it lands face down, you must stay where you are and your turn ends. If the card is a change place card, simply change places with another player on the board. If you have a move ahead 10 card, do not roll the dice, just simply move 10 spaces. And if you roll twice, just follow the directions on the space where you finally land. The lasagna cards may be used with 2 Garfield cards and may also be used when you land on certain board spaces. To play one, play it face up on the board and then follow the instructions as displayed under the Garfield card or on the board. There are a couple of Garfield board spaces that do need to be mentioned. The first is the tail end space. Each time a player lands or passes this space, they take a ring from the center of the board and place it around their playing piece. Whenever you're required to move backwards over this space, you lose the ring if you have one. There's also a Garfield swipes a player card, place one onto the discard pile. If you land on any one of these 3 green spaces, discard one of your playing cards. If you don't have a playing card, you don't lose anything. The Garfield changes his mind space is a direction to turn over the next available card off of the Garfield pile, and then your turn ends. And finally, For a slice of lasagna, you may roll again. If you land on any one of these 3 red spaces, you may sacrifice a lasagna card in order to roll again. The top Garfield card affects each player on his or her turn until someone else lands on the Garfield changes his mind space. The player who lands on this space takes the top Garfield card and flips it over, and reads the card aloud for the following player. However, when a Garfield card reads, "This card is just for you," toss it into a discard pile at the end of your turn and turn over the next Garfield card for the following player to read. As soon as all Garfield cards are gone from the draw pile, shuffle those in the discard pile and form a new draw pile. A couple of cards need clarification. The first is, you give up a card or you lose your turn. This card is just for you. If you don't have a card to give up, you don't lose your turn. Next, a chance to advance 7 spaces for a piece of lasagna. If you have a lasagna card, play it face up in front of you. Add the number 7 to the number of your die roll, and then follow the directions on the space where you finally land. Discard the lasagna card. And finally, you're in luck. Change places with another player, but don't roll. This card is just for you. Choose another player and exchange both your places and reigns. If you and the other player have no reigns, that's fine, but you still must exchange places and immediately end your turn. Remember to toss the Garfield card in the discard pile and turn over the next one for the next player to read. To win this game, you must be the first player to pass the tail end space for the 3rd time to earn your 3rd reign. Well, this has been an overview of Garfield the board game from Parker Brothers. The game is a relatively easy introductory strategy game. So it is a really good game to start your kids on if you want to get them into harder gaming in the future. It is a really good family game to play on family nights, especially, like I said, with kids. The game is really easy to find online. It runs anywhere from about $10 to $30, so as games go, it's not too expensive. The game itself has a lot of nice art in it, done by artist Jim Davis, the creator of Garfield. So the game has a very authentic Garfield look to it. So, like I said, it's a really good game to play with your kids. So if you would like to get your kids on gaming, I would recommend playing this game. Well, that's it from us here at the Gamer's Closet. We'd like to thank you for checking out our video on Garfield by Parker Brothers Incorporated. If there's a game that you'd like us to review in the future or go over, please put it in the comments below. Please hit subscribe so that way you can be the first to check out our future content. And as always, please have a great gaming day.